If you want to see a song mixed from start to finish using only the stock plugins in Logic, then this video is going to be for you. Hey everyone, my name is Wilson Woodyard, and today I'm going to be mixing an electronic pop song from start to finish using only the stock plugins in Logic Pro. Last time I did a full song mix, I had a couple people ask for the multi-track so they could follow along with me. This time, I'm pleased to share that I've already spoken with the artist and cleared those tracks, so I'm able to provide them to you. So I have them down in the description if you want to check them out and follow along. The thing I'm really going to focus on for this mix in particular is number one, using only the stock plugins in Logic, but focusing on the most important aspects of the mix. So if you're familiar with the 80-20 principle, 80% of your results come from 20% of what you're doing. So we're going to focus on mostly that 20% that's going to get you the most results very quickly. So if you're kind of newer to mixing or you just don't want to spend a lot of time on it, this video is going to be great because it's going to jump right to kind of the meat and potatoes of what to do to get a good sound quickly. A bit about the song as I share my screen here. We've got a whopping 63 tracks on this one, and it's very kind of like synth heavy, arpeggiator heavy, like synth pop, electronic pop, with some like indie influence as well. So a lot of the mix is getting these synths and various layers to play nicely together. We have 18 tracks of just vocals, so part of this is going to be getting all those vocals to sit nicely and kind of blend with the rest of the band. So far, the only thing I've done prior to starting this video was color my tracks. So if you blow it up here a little bit, I've got all my drums here, kind of an orange. Everything's color-coded. Guitars. I've split synths into different color codings. So I have ARP, like any arpeggiator sequence elements. I have chords, which are just kind of big chords. I have my leads, which I just call synth. And then I have a couple pads, which are more texture stuff. So as we're going along, if I'm referring to it as an ARP or a chord or a synth, I actually mean the synth ARP or the synth chord, or like we got like 20, 30 tracks of synths. So we got to divide it up to keep it kind of organized. So I'll play a little bit of it to give you an idea kind of the song. I've literally done nothing with the levels here. Everything is just faders at unity. This is what we got. There's already some elements that are way too loud. Cymbals way too loud, you can't hear the drums. I'll go somewhere else, here we go.
I mean, it gets a little.
So, goes from like that big pop sound to this kind of cool like indie bouncy kind of thing. The very first thing you're going to want to do if you're quote unquote speed mixing or trying to focus on the important elements is set up all your buses, your groups, and your stereo processing. So I'm going to go ahead and create track stacks for all my colors of instruments. So highlight the tracks you want, hit Shift-Command-D, and create a summing stack. So this is going to create a sum here. We can call it drums. And that's just going to allow us to control all those instruments and put processing on all those instruments at the same time. So this one is bass. All right, all the guitars. Okay, I'm going to split this into rhythm guitars. We'll call it RGs. And then these down here are going to be LGs for lead guitars. Okay. And all the ARPs and all the chords. So we're flying through this. Just got to get it done and then move on. I'm going to just group pads and vocoders together for like weird color stuff. And then here we go. So these are all the lead vocals. So we'll have V leads. Here's all our harmonies. V harm, V ham, and then backing. So we'll just call these BGV. My distinction for vocals is like lead vocals, which is anything doing the melody, anything doubling the melody. Harmonies are singing words with the melody, but different pitches. So your classic like third and fifth and whatever harmonies. And then backing vocals are like oohs and ahs and other words that aren't associated with the melody. That's just how I like to divide it up. It helps my sanity a little bit. So now we have track stacks, which is really helpful for a mix this size because we can collapse stuff. And just for the sake of not losing my mind, I'm going to color code my track stacks. One thing while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to show you the original mix of this, if I can find it. So this is kind of how the original mix turned out. I'll turn it down so it's not crazy loud. So here's the original mix. And we got a verse here.
Don't rush, don't rush, don't rush. Please don't rush into this because I know that I've had a long time to sit with it. If anything, honey,
So then other stuff comes in here.
when I turn it back on you, it's so easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes.
Cool. So we'll have that there to reference as we go in case we need it. Okay. All of our groups here, we're going to highlight them and send them to our own master bus. This is just so that way the track, like our reference mix, doesn't hit the master bus. So we'll call it master bus, or we'll call it mix bus. How about that? So first thing, we're just going to go ahead and kill all of our faders. Take them all down all the way. The whole idea of this is you want to bring the elements back one at a time without your main mix getting too loud. So pop over here. I'm going to go to the mix bus and I'm going to just put a level meter on this. And we want our mix bus to hit around -6. So like we don't want anything exceeding that at this phase of the mix. So I'll keep that up there as we go, and we're just going to keep an eye on it. So I'm going to find a loud area, maybe like right here. Looks good. Pull up our drums to unity with option click. Start with kick. And now let's add snare. And make sure these feel balanced. And we're keeping an eye. Each group should really hit around -12. So I'll pull them down a little bit. We got a couple drum loops down here. That's good. We got another. The cymbal's really loud. We'll have to deal with that. Cool. That's a good start. Let's keep moving. We need fills. I'll just match fills to wherever the snare's at, -2.2. You can hear the fills like coming into a section. That's a good level for fills. Okay, next we're going to add some bass elements in. So I'll go ahead and pull the bass fader up to unity. We'll start with the sub, which is like our low end of the bass. Listen in for that low end specifically. Bring in bass dirt, which adds a little more texture. This other stuff, we'll have to come back to it. All right, guitars. I'm gonna hard pan these, pull them down. I'm going to pan these kind of wide, but not hard panned. Nice. All right, let's get some arps in there. Keeping an eye on this up here. We're kind of maybe like -10, -11 right now. So the sounds that are kind of weirder or not supporting the groove as much, I'm going to push back. So like this echo bells is really important. That's like really good ARP stuff. This one is more of like a weird texture-y thing, along with this acid thing. So they'll be back a little more and we'll feature them as we need to. I'm also going to tilt these just a little bit. Also for all these synths, the default is balance, which is like how much left versus how much right. But what I want, probably safe to do it for all the chords actually, or all the synth rather, is we want this to be stereo pan. So if you highlight them and you can, or sorry, right click them, you can turn them to stereo pan. And what this does is let you pan independently each side of it. So like say for this acid, if we just wanted like both over on one side, you could do that. But the benefit of this is when you do pan it, it still has this equal amount of stereo information. Whereas if you just turn the balance, you're saying I want more left and less right. So it's important for all those stereo sources to have stereo pan. So I've panned acid over there, so I'm going to do this. That's a really good one. I'm going to tilt the verse sequencer opposite of the lo-fi acid. Cool. We'll worry about stereo spread on that stuff more later. Somebody's loud. He's loud. Cool. Now we're hearing everything. Let's move on. Chords. Okay, that's weird. That's actually what I want to balance with this lo-fi acid. So the idea is like these two are both weird textures, so I've kind of tilted them away from each other, just to give it some stereo interest. Nice, nice, nice. That's a good like airy kind of pad. It's a big kind of stabby. Those are all three kind of supporting the chords. All right, let's get our synth leads in there. Somebody has more of a tail. So he's better. This one's kind of more dry and separated, which we can always add stuff later. Cool. Check that. And mix that with these guitars here. You can start to get a nice full picture. Next thing. We got this pad here. We've got this vocoder. I'm going to pan this in a little bit. So if you grab right at the top, not the knob, if you grab the knob, it's going to turn. But if you grab up at the top, you'll see the two little white ends light up, and you can actually pull it and you're going to make that source more narrow. So somewhere around there, I'll do the same thing with the other vocoder. That way they're not as wide and it saves width for our important things. And there's two vocoders here, but they kind of just occupy different sonic territory, so I'm going to just blend them with the faders. The first one kind of has more top end. Second one is kind of more low mid, so I'm going to have the low mid slightly lower volume wise. Okay, let's grab a bigger section here. We're going to start to add vocals in. This is kind of a post-chorus thing, so mostly backing vocals here. I'm going to actually shorten the section. Looks like I printed some panning on there when I made the stems, but so we don't need to pan them. Cool. So you want to hear your top part or whatever part's carrying the melody. So I'm going to push this backing top a little bit and then pull down some of my other backing parts to blend with it. Nice. On the parts that don't have a backing right now, I'm just going to kind of put them relative to where the other stuff is. So let me get to that part. Okay, let's go to a verse.
Cause I know that I've had a long time to sit with it. If anything, honey,
Make sure everything's in.
We've got our whole lives to walk these fine lines.
Pull this down. Add the double. So this is a good backing vocal section. I'm going to pull the backing vocals down overall. So we have other backing vocals here. Those are loud. Cool. All right, let's get the rest of our guitars in there because they exist in this quiet part. So I'm going to pan them, turn them down. We want that to feel kind of like a synth or an arpeggiated element. And we got this bass pluck. Cool, that's getting to be a vibe. Cool, let's check verse 2 for this Rhodes coming in here. Okay, we have a good balance now. We need more kick and snare. That kind of got lost. So I'm going to push them up just a little bit, maybe like a couple dB. And we're still being careful not to exceed this -6 too much. Somebody was really loud right there. Cool. Synth lead is loud. Gonna pull him down. Cool, let's get these in here. Some washy guitars. This one's really loud. This is kind of a more motion-y electric, so I'm going to not pan it as far and pull the volume down a little more because we don't want to like overtake that space. Nice. We got the Rhodes in there. We got some ad-libs. I made those mono because I think when I was making the stems, I printed the panning into a stereo file, but I want to kind of readdress how I pan them, so I just made them mono. Cool, and then it builds back up.
You saw me in my pain and left me anyway. Slow dancing in sunshine and showers. Let's leave our yesterday.
Cool, those got loud.
Leave this to waste. These days are our golden hours. Everything you do is like music to me, babe. It's our golden hours.
Awesome. That's a really good starting point. We are peaking a little bit over 6, but that's okay. It's more of a guideline and to keep you from like just slamming your master. So first thing we're going to do to our master bus, I'm kind of, when I'm in a hurry or in general, I usually like to put stuff on my master bus first because that's going to give us a really quick polish of the whole mix. And then I kind of move backwards to my other buses from there. So very first thing I like to do on my bus is bus compression. So you're going to go just get the Logic compressor. And for bus compression, I really like the vintage VCA. And I do ratio at 4:1, attack at 30, release, we'll play with it. And we'll start there. Makeup is around 2, and then I'm going to pull this threshold down as we go. So I'm going to find a loud part. I like this spot right here. So I'm going to pull this down. And you're going to want to aim for just 1 to 3 decibels of gain reduction. We will get the rest of our gain reduction elsewhere. Sweet. If you want to make your whole mix better, turn this distortion to soft, from off to soft. And then I'm just going to pull down my master a little bit because that usually makes it louder. Let's see how we're doing here. So we are kind of pushing a little. So I'll pull this down to 1 dB of makeup. And I pulled my output gain down to -2. Here's without it. Here's with it. Without it. With it. So it just adds a little bit of punch, a little bit of polish, Next thing I like to do is some sort of general shaping EQ. And I usually like to use the Logic Vintage EQ Collection Vintage Tube EQ for this. This is kind of the Pultec style tube EQ, and it has a really nice warm response and will let you, it's great for like that character tone shaping. So let's go ahead and hit play. I like to mess with the output drive here because that adds another layer of kind of saturation and, you know, transformer character. So let's start with a low boost, and this is interesting. If you haven't seen a video on this, I have a video just on this plugin, so I'll make sure to link that below. But basically you have a low boost and a low attenuate in one frequency. So it's going to boost and cut at the same frequency. So I'm just going to go ahead and start boosting and we'll see what we can get. That's pretty good. I think I'm like in 60. He's without it. He's with it. Actually, I like that there. So we added some volume, so I'm going to pull the volume down like -1.5 because we don't want to clip our master. Okay, without it. He's with it. I feel like I lost something there. Yep. So same thing on the highs. I'm going to pick something maybe like 12K. I want the bandwidth pretty wide, and I'm going to add some boost to it. The 8K is pretty good. We'll do 8K. There's also a high attenuate, so you can cut 5K, 10K, or 20K. So I'm going to try 20K and see what that feels like. Just a bit. Here's without it. Here's with it. I'm going to push more lows because I'm feeling it. Here's without it. Here's with it. Now there's another mid section down here. It's optional, but if you want to just get more tone shaping done right away, you can come here. So you basically have a low peak and a high peak. A peak is just like a boost, like a little mountaintop. And then a dip is like a little valley. So basically you have a low boost, a high boost, and then a little dip. So we can additionally maybe try to find where the snare fundamental is. Fundamental is just like the low end, the oomph of it, which could be around 200. So I'm going to try that. I couldn't find that, but it did thicken it up, so we'll go with that. Now I'm going to find something bad and go ahead and just dip it out of the whole mix, maybe around 700 to 500. Cool. And a high boost, maybe something around 4 or 5K. No, 3K. Here's without any of that. Here's with it. Here's without any of our bus processing. Here's with it. But we are definitely pushing loud now, so I'm going to pull the output of the tube EQ back down, pull the drive down. We're just adding a lot of sound. Pull the makeup gain down because we want it to be the same volume, even though we're adding goodness. There we go, off, back on. Cool. So that's a way you can just quickly balance your lows and highs, kind of like a car stereo, get it feeling good, and then everything else you do is going to be easier because you've already kind of treated your mix as a whole. So now what I want to do is we're going to treat our group buses. So like all the drums as a group, all the basses as a group, and so on. So the way I like to do this is start with a compressor as well. And usually, sometimes I'll just use the same exact thing, the vintage VCA, and we just want a little bit of gain reduction. Definitely faster attack. Soft clipping, but pull the output down. Just looking to kind of control the overall drum sound. Okay, and the other thing I like to add to each channel is some sort of bus EQ that's going to help tone shape and make it sound good. I'm going to go to Logic, EQ, Vintage EQ Collection, and do the console EQ. So if you're not familiar with this one, it's like a Neve style EQ. You have a low cut right here, and different frequencies that you can remove low end. Then you basically have a low gain and a frequency, a mid gain and a frequency, and a high gain. So this is just really quick, gonna shape the overall sound of an entire group. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play, get this dialed in. We want some lows. Not too much, just a little bit. And maybe we can either boost some top end or cut out some lows. I'm going to cut out some lows and boost some top. So here's without it. Here's with it. It adds a little bit of sound, so I'm going to pull it down. And now's where it starts to speed up. So I'm going to copy this, copy channel strip setting, and we're going to go to every other bus group, whatever you want to call them that we have, track stack. Go ahead and highlight them, and then go up here and hit paste plugins only. It only did it to one. So dang it, you're going to have to go to each one and hit paste plugins only. But this is going to quickly get all your buses set up, and then we'll go back and tweak these settings on each one. So now I'm going to start to add in each bus and do the processing on each individual bus, and then we'll move on from there. So I like, oh yeah, good stuff. Nope. No low roll off there. Gonna add some of that thick lows. Some of that good mid-range. Pull out some of the top. We added a little bit of volume, so I'll pull this down. Great, next one. Oh, let's make sure our basses are hitting the bus. All right. Got that going. Rhythm guitars. Compress them. I'm gonna change it to 10 milliseconds on this. I like to put my percussive elements at 30 because you get that transient cutting through. It makes it more punchy. And then everything else gets 10 milliseconds, which kind of helps round off the attack and helps it fit better with the percussion. There we go. All right, guitars, we're gonna roll off lows. Maybe 80 or 160. We'll do 80. We'll boost them a little bit at 220. That sounds like fun. Give them a little character boost at 1.6. And I'm going to leave the highs where they are. All right, moving on to lead guitars. Lead guitars are kind of more over here. Well, there's this one here. That's a vibe. Let's make sure that's compressing enough. We'll probably roll this off to 160 because we really don't need low-end content on this. But I like the good kind of mid-range on it. And we can give them a little top end too. Without it. We're like subtly shifting stuff. Check these here. It's great. Sounds like guitars. Make sure we're not over compressing. Great. All right. Let's check synths, a big section with lots of synths here. All right, synths. What's going on? Gonna help to balance it all. We can also roll these off around 80, but it'd be fun to thicken up the lows. Let's find a good character spot. That's pretty cool right there. And we'll leave these guys with some highs. Without it. All right. All right, chords. All right, roll off these at 80. I'm not gonna give them any lows, but maybe we'll do like a, actually like that right there. No top end on them. It's important to not put too much top end across all your instruments because it's like you got to save room for something up there. And so I usually like to give my top end to like a couple important instruments and then vocals. And otherwise I either cut there or I just don't boost. So this is an example of when I would want to boost the highs because this is a really kind of brilliant, top end synth. But we could cut probably up to 160 on the lows and not boost the lows. Great, and now that feels loud, so we can pull it down a little bit. Pads. Basically with this, we just don't want anything getting in the way. So pull that, I'll pull some of the top off of it, and we'll just leave the other stuff kind of flat. Perfect. Just out of the way, texture kind of stuff. All right, lead vocals. A little bit of compression. We definitely want highs. Nice. Here's without it. We're really pushing that one. Let's go to backing vocals. These can also be a little airy. we'll boost him somewhere else.
It's so easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes now.
Nice. Harmonies.
My eyes now. My eyes now.
I don't hear these at all, so we need more of that.
My eyes now. My eyes now. My eyes now.
I'm going to pan those a little bit too.
My eyes now. My eyes now. My eyes now. My eyes now.
Cool.
My eyes now. That my eyes now. That my eyes now.
Great. And console EQ, again, we're going to boost this somewhere else. So maybe like a 1.6 for these.
My eyes now. That my eyes now.
So that is all of our buses. We've already run through, gotten all of those. So I hope you're seeing so far how already with just mix bus and instrument buses, we've gotten a ways towards our final sound. From here going forward, we're going to go ahead and highlight all of our tracks again. And now it's time to actually start doing our individual instrument processing. And we're going to add a compressor to all those channels. And I already have a default set up, so you might want to copy these settings, maybe save it as a default before. That way, once you put it in, all of them get the same settings. But basically, my threshold's at -22. Ratio is 3:1, makeup gain's 2 decibels, attack is 15 milliseconds, and release is 51. This is just a really good, gentle, kind of transparent starting point that'll add some punch and some balance to all your channels. So if your gain staging is done properly, this should just land in there and start compressing a good amount right off the bat. And then we'll go channel to channel and tweak it, but the goal for this is just big moves as quickly as possible. So we've done that. I'm also going to click the EQ right here and add a basic channel EQ to every single track. And the only thing I have kind of pre-saved on my default EQ is this low cut at 80 hertz. So on the low instruments, we're gonna have to go and remove that to get it to have low end. But other than that, everything else is already gonna get low rolled off and be ready. There's basically 3 EQ moves I like to focus on when I'm trying to move quickly. There is the low cut, and there's a magical spot on the Logic channel EQ in particular where you can actually boost where you begin to roll off. So like a little resonant hump. And this is huge because it saves you, it's like 2 moves for the price of 1, right? Like I can roll off the unneeded low end on my kick, but also boost right where I want that fundamental. And it just cleans it up and gives you more power. The second EQ move I'm going to do on almost every track is a mud cut. So somewhere there's going to be something not nice sounding about that audio, and we're going to pull it out. And finally, we're going to do a character boost. So this is going to be kind of a little more gentle boost wherever that particular instrument has a cool character or we want it to cut through the mix. So I'm going to go through every single track in the mix and do those 3 moves very quickly. So we will start kind of just one at a time. All right. Lows. So hear this good low end right there. Yeah. Definitely want that. I like the lower end. All right, mud. Get that out of there, and then some character top end. Like that. Here's without it. Here's with it. All right, moving on. Snare. We're going to do our mud cut. And character boost. Oh yeah. Here's without it. Here's with it. All right, let's do our drum loop here. This one's weird because it does have some low end, like in the verses. Mud and character. Around 3K on the character. All right, this thing is freaking ridiculous. Kind of some yucky right there. Little top end could be cool. Just kidding. We're going to pull that out. So this is one of those cases where I would use something other than those three moves. I'm going to roll off some highs, maybe very gently, like 6 decibels, and just kind of pull that over, and we want to chill that cymbal out. We can always automate it down for that part, but I like to start by just treating the channel. Better. Okay, moving on. All right, low end of the sub. We want it like almost full range. This is cool, but it can get kind of in the way. Also, we have another bass to worry about, so this one I'm actually going to roll off very gently again, some of the lows. Nice. All right, bass dirt. This one, we don't want a lot of that. Maybe we could do a little bit right there. Mud. Right there. Character. Right there. Nice. Here's without those EQs on the bass. Here's with it. Kind of puts them into their place. Get in your place. Next, guitars. This one's going to be on the left. Gotta get some mud out of there. Cool. Gonna copy that over to our double for lead guitar. Really want that top end detail. Let's pull some mud out. Right there. Great, let's copy that over. Already cleaned up, already cutting. Let's go to some ARPs. Clean up some of that low end. Just gonna roll with that on that one. We'll come back. It's like not an important element in the grand scheme of things, so I try not to spend too much time on it. That's cool texture right there. It's also really cool. Maybe pull off some highs. That's really neat. All right, this one. Don't like that. That has a cool texture right there. Cut some of that. All right, let's look at this guy. Oh yeah, he's kind of the thickness of it. Keep moving. I hope you're getting the idea of it so far. It's really just like what are the biggest moves I can make to the most important tracks, and we're not obsessing over like what EQ should I use. We're not obsessing over compressor settings. We're not obsessing over like what types of 1 or 2 dB tiny little cuts or boosts can I do to. That's not the point of this. The point is to very quickly get in and get a mix that sounds very good. And then from there you can tweak to your heart's content. But I think people get so caught up in tweaking that they're not looking at, hey, what can I just get it moving, get it done, and you can go back and mess around later. All right. This is one of those weird ones. Fine, whatever. I actually like this one for its top end content. All right, what's this? Doesn't sound like anything. Oh, it's that weird thing. Okay. That's an interesting texture. I'm gonna do 2 boosts there, because why not? Alright, this one. I kind of like how that mid-range sounds when it punches through. Cool. The reason I'm keeping my low end soloed with all of this is I want to feel where each group sits in relation to the rhythm section. And then later I like to go through and try like, let's try the chords and the arps together, or the arps and the guitars, and kind of bounce back and forth between different groups to really get a feel for what's happening and how things interact. Honestly, this sounds really good. I don't know what I'd change, but we will mess with it. We'll just kind of boost the fundamental, get rid of unneeded low end. It already has top end, it already has all that stuff. Yeah, done. We don't even need to, shouldn't have even bothered with that. All right, this guy, certainly don't want, that's a ring. That's kind of annoying. We'll pull that out and we'll add some air. Done. Here's without it. Kind of ringy. Just pulls the ring down and adds some nice goodness. Let's kind of bounce and listen to where our mix is at so far. Here's no EQ and no compression. There's with all of it. So see how it's very quickly getting into that range of like, oh, this is mixed. Of course it's mixed. You mixed it. Okay. The other reason I like working with just the compressor and EQ and Logic is you can see exactly what's going on each channel. So I think at this point we need to go through to the certain parts of the song where they have weird elements and address the EQ and compression at those spots. So I'm going to roll it from the verse here. Actually, intro. We have these weird basses. Okay. moving very quickly. There's nothing else happening there, so we don't have to be that careful with our frequencies. Sweet. All right, all right. All right.
Don't rush, please don't rush into this.
That's a lot.
Because I know that I've had a long time to sit with it. If anything, honey, take your time. We've got our whole lives to walk.
All right, this bass is gonna come in.
Lines. I mean, I guess a little. When I turn it back on you, it's so
Nice.
easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes now that everything you do is.
All right, let's check these, like a verse pluck.
It's so easy to see. It's so clear.
What is this? Cool. Pull that mud out.
I don't wanna slow down.
Classic house sequence, this thing. It's cool to put a little air on it.
If anything, honey, 10 lines. I mean,
Aux
I guess
pluck.
a little. When I turn it back on you, it's so easy.
All that is junk. We actually don't want that in there. That's mud. There's the character.
It's so
Nice. All right, what's down here? String bells. Already got that.
And not leave this to waste.
All right, let's address that kalimba. Just gonna pull that out. It's a little too clicky. Cool.
Don't rush, don't rush.
All right, vocal.
Please don't rush into this because
Same thing
I
applies.
know that I've had a long time to sit with it. If anything, honey, take your time. We've got our whole
So there's kind of the mud right there.
lives to walk these fine lines.
And we're going to look for the character. We're not going to necessarily just boost the highs because we've already done that on the bus and we've already done that on our master. So we don't need to do it. We're just looking for some character, something unique to this channel, to this vocal.
I mean, I guess a little. When I turn it back on you, it's so easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes now that everything you do is like music.
A little bit right there.
And
So that EQ.
I don't wanna slow down.
We're also going to compress this harder because we really need to lock vocals in place.
You saw me in my pain and loved me anyway. Slow dancing in sunshine and shine. Don't rush, please don't rush into this because I know that I've had a long time to sit with it.
We're going to have to de-es it.
If anything, honey, take your time. We've got our whole lives to walk these fine lines. I mean, I guess a little. When I turn it back on you.
All right, we're going to copy that compressor over to all these lead channels. Copy that EQ over to all the lead channels. Big moves really quick.
When I turn it back on you, it's so easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes now.
Doubles and things that could get in the way of the melody, I pull the highs out of, so the highs are reserved for that melody. It just helps to like tighten things up.
Now that everything lines. I mean, I guess a little.
This one can just be low and panned over. It's supposed to be a weird thing.
Lines. I mean, I guess a little. When I turn it
we're going to de-ess this vocal. And actually, to speed it up, I'm going to de-ess just the whole group. So a de-esser specifically listens to a certain high-end range, somewhere between like 3K and 6K, and removes that like like annoying sound. So we're going to go to Logic, Dynamics, de-esser 2. And we are going to, here we go, let's try this. Classic de-esser.
That everything you do is like music to me.
So we can filter solo. It's right around 6K for her.
Everything you do is like music to me. And I don't wanna slow down. You saw me in my pain and loved me anyway. Slow dancing in sunshine and showers. So let's leave our yesterdays and not leave this to waste. These days are our golden hours.
It is challenging sometimes.
If anything, honey, take your time. We've got our whole lives to walk these fine lines. I mean, I guess a little. When I turn it back on you, it's so easy to see. It's so clear through my eyes now. That everything you do is like music to me. And I don't wanna slow down.
Cool. Let's see how that feels.
If anything, honey, take your time. We've got our whole lives to walk these fine lines. I mean, I guess a little. Oh, no.
I'm not even going to bother with the channels on these because there's so much going on and it's so low in the mix.
And I don't wanna slow down.
But we will look at these harmonies.
My eyes now, 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 my eyes now,
All right, the high one.
my eyes now. That everything you do, my eyes now, my eyes now,
That's a cool texture.
my eyes now, my eyes now,
Pull that down.
my eyes now.
And same thing, I'm going to take that same de-esser and put it onto my harmonies because they also can build up the lows. Sorry, the highs. My brain's not working. Need a coffee.
Eyes now, that everything you do, my eyes now.
And I'm going to copy the same compressor just over to these harmonies because we want lots of compression.
My eyes now, that everything you
All right. I promise we will move on from this area.
You saw me in my pain and loved me anyway.
Pull the double down.
Dancing in sunshine and showers. So let's leave our yesterdays and not leave this to waste.
That thing's loud, the kalimba.
These are our golden hours.
Let's look at these vocoders because they're a little weird sonically. Watch out for those highs. Other one. There's cool texture there. Nice. We could pull them up a little bit now.
These
I'm going to add some 220 to the bus here to warm it up, and maybe even some 360 because pads really need to like fill that low mid to me. So that's what I'm going to try to do with that. Oh yeah. Let's check this. Make sure we're not getting too hot. Okay, we've officially done EQ and compression for everything. So if you're enjoying this so far, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button because I want to notify you when more videos come out that could help you on your music journey. Okay, I might actually take a break. This actually feels like a good spot to break for part 2. I was not originally planning to have this be a multi-part video, but I think just for the sake of paying attention and my sanity, I'm ready to take a break. So I'm going to make this a part 1. Part 2, we're going to cover all the delays, reverbs, and any other kind of effects or colors or anything else we want to add to this to wrap it up. If you've enjoyed this so far, please let me know down in the comments or feel free to ask any questions you have so far. I'll be happy to help you out. If you're watching this video within 1 week of release, then something will pop up over here. But if you're watching it more than 1 week from when it's released, part 2 has officially posted and it'll be up here. Thank you so much for watching.